I think it's lovely. Nice narrow beam on the boat. She's really slick. Look at this puppy up here. Is that cute or what? That's really pure hair shop. This is simplicity itself. It's very pleasant here. I think she's a lovely little boat for a lot of people. It's really sweet. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Hi there, this is Captain Q and my old sailing buddy Randy. Join us as we travel hither and yon as we look for some great deals on classic boats and learn a little with each one.
Hey, Captain.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
Is this July 4th or what?
This is just past July 4th, 2022.
There you go.
What do you think? And you know me, when I see the stars and stripes, I can't help but salute, right?
Sure, back to your Navy days.
Yeah, and also remember the boat we saw down in Westbrook, Connecticut one time. The
Stars and Stripes.
The whole boat was Stars and Stripes. Anyway, we're here in East Haven, Connecticut, and if you notice, there's not a lot of rigging around me, and in a second you're going to see we have no mast on this. Well, go ahead, take a look.
Okay.
Look at what we've got here. And the fans are going to say, whoa, what's going on here? Well, he didn't lose a spar, never had one. This is what we call a powerboat.
What?
Yes. This boat was designed by a man named Eldred Cooper in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and he was originally a designer of offshore fishing boats for the locals up there. So she's a very seaworthy design. But there was a lovely lady, let's see, we're going to go back about 14 years ago, who asked him to design for her a little mini yacht version of his boats. And so this is what he designed and built. And you know what? I can't wait to go out on this today. We're having an opportunity to run out into Long Island Sound. I think it's lovely. There's not a lot to look at on this boat, so you're going to have to observe and think how you would enjoy having this for a runabout in your particular neighborhood. The captain here actually spent a lot of his ill-spent youth on powerboats and sailboats, but more on powerboats on a small lake called Chautauqua, south of Buffalo, New York. And I started out with an old town lapstrake 16-footer that had one of those green Johnson 25 horsepower football-shaped motors, which rarely worked, and you could never get it out of reverse sometimes. And it was a lovely boat until one day, trying to get home, I had to back about 3 miles down the lake in reverse, and I noticed there was a lot of water building up in the bilge, and there was a little dark spot down right where the transom met the bottom. And I took my finger down and I said, what does that feel like? My finger went right through the entire transom. Later on, just before the PB arrived, I spent a couple of summers with my own 30-foot Fales trawler, which was a cute little boat, looked just like a regular trawler, full size, except when you got up next to it, you realized it was a miniature trawler, and all my friends called it the Fisher-Price toy. So that was 30 feet, and today we're going to look at a 30-foot powerboat with extremely limited accommodations, okay?
Okay.
She has, for fluid on board, about 30 to 40 gallons of fuel, diesel fuel. She's got about 110 horsepower diesel engine. It'll drive it along at, cruise at 10 knots, and if you want to zip home fast, about 14 knots. Nice narrow beam on the boat. She's really slick.
Why is the narrow beam good?
Well, the narrow beam, it's just less shoulder to shoulder its way through the waters. It's like, you know, it's like a kayak on steroids. Would you like to step aboard?
Are you going to go for a swim first?
No, not. I hope not. Not just yet, thank you.
All right, I'll come aboard.
We love the subscribers.
Yeah, more subscribers means that we're going to get recommended to more people, and so that helps spread the love and spread the word about old classic boats and what we're doing, so every little bit helps.
Thanks again. So, Randy, I'm way up on the bow of this lovely boat called the Marjorie, and she has a little CQR. Look at this puppy up here. Is that cute or what? Right down there off the little anchor bowsprit for you. We have a pulpit, no lifelines on here, but that wouldn't be a bad addition. I'm standing on a chain locker, which because of the space up here, I'm not going to open it, but believe me, it's a place to keep your chain right below me. We've looked at a couple of hair shop designs, the Marlins. Look at the cabin shape down here, the narrowness and how it's cut down forward. It has its own rake. That's really pure hair shop.
Yeah.
I think Eldridge took a little little license with that or something, a little freedom.
Inspiration.
Little inspiration, okay. We've got a nice big Bomar style hatch here. I mean, this is simplicity itself.
So do we have a little Cuddy Cabin?
It does, and I'm going to take you down to the little Cuddy Cabin.
All right.
We've got two stainless handrails here going aft, and in case there's a big bridge in front of you or a big boat, that's going to be a pretty loud horn, I think. So coming down the walkways here, which are appropriately narrow for a boat this size, I'm going to step aboard onto the engine case right here. As you can see, there's lots of walk-around room here. There's not a lot of luxury here, but I think you and I may be very comfortable sitting in a couple of these deck chairs back here. What do you think?
Those look pretty inviting.
What do you think? I'm just going to try this one. Oh, okay. What do you think, Sea Dog? Sea Dog thinks it's just swell. She's framed with oak and with cedar hull, woodwork on the boat. Very tight.
So what does that mean? Oak ribs and then cedar planks?
Yes, oak ribs and cedar planks.
Okay.
And we have a self-bailing cockpit here. This water is going to come back. There's a couple of scuppers back on either side of me, right down here underneath Sea Dog. See that? So that'll drain out any excess water. And when the boat rides along, it'll ride up with the nose riding slightly high. Yep. And it'll be just a little lower down here. Lovely woodwork here coming out of a yard that builds for fishing boats, isn't there? And this nice little tow rail cap with little drains for water to catch along. Now I noticed that you mentioned at one point that a boat you had seen, the Seafarer 45, I think. Yep. The owner had used a little strip of we're not certain, was it like a silicone, and he ran a little bead right along the intersection of the combing and the deck. In this case, we got piece of wood here, and the idea being that water will catch on there and live, and it's going to try and wick up into the wood, isn't it?
Yeah, you can actually see like right here.
And it's actually already happening here a little bit, and you can see where the varnish is turning bright yellow.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, the water's going to sit there, and then it's going to slowly creep up and wick
right up underneath the varnish. Yeah. Exactly. So it's a great simple little idea to eliminate a lot of future handwork. Let's take a look forward here. Right now, you're sitting on the engine room, and I'm going to pop this open for a second. Now, we like access, don't we?
We do.
So, there we go. There's our Yanmar 110 horse diesel, and everything is right here. This other piece of the hatch will slide off too if you really need to climb down in here with it. But we've got your raw water intake strainer right down here. You see that? Yep. And we've got the overflow container here for your fresh water. And here's your Raycor, your happy Raycors. Yep. Oil dipstick is right here at handy. And the oil fill cap matches the color of the dipstick. It's yellow, so you know where to put the oil if it's low. I think his belts could use just a little bit of attention. That's not a bad deflection, but maybe a half turn on something. You can see your stuffing box back in there very clearly, and with the cover off, you're going to stand right down in the bottom of this bilge. Notice I'm not seeing any water down there. You seeing any water in that bilge?
Nope, none.
Yes, how dry and nice and tight. So wooden boats don't have to leak, do they? It's got some soundproofing in here, and that looks like it might be adequate. We'll find out today. But on a boat this size, with a diesel that size, you're going to have a little engine noise. But the beauty of it is you're going to have a really nice seagoing boat. Now, we want to drive this boat. Okay, so I can just lift the seat up here, and we have, ta-da! And you got the seat up in position. It's a little tricky, but it's very sturdy once it's up. And this is kind of the bachelor's helm position. A lot of these boats like to have double seats here. You might, for your friend, you might want to bring another seat in here. But right now, You can stand right here behind the wheel, have a nice seat. Very simple. You got a Garmin here. It's got GPS. It's going to tell you where you are in Long Island Sound. Nice fresh Yanmar controls here. Start stop buttons. We've got dual controls for the engine, one for the throttle and one for the transmission. And the steering wheel, this is a C-Star system, Teleflex, that is actually a hydraulic system. That means that this is going to run hydraulic juice back to a ram in the...
Is that common on a small boat like this?
One of the problems about it is that if you have cable running, you've got to run it past, funny ways to get it all the way back. Hydraulic system is a simple hose or two going back there and you can steer the boat. Okay. And unlike sailboats where you really aren't crazy about hydraulic, because hydraulic gives you no feedback. Right. It doesn't tell you what the sails are doing. Of course, you don't have sails. But this is just going to, you're just going to tell it to go straight or whatever. Randy, that's the cockpit here. You can take a sweep of the whole thing here and you'll see there's a lot of room for people to sit on the engine cabinet and just have a nice little runabout. Maybe go out to the nearest beach, drop an anchor off the beach, and remember, she only draws about 2.5 feet. Yeah. So you can get pretty close to the shore. I wouldn't run it up on the shore because it still has a big prop swinging down there. There is an arm running from the deadwood of the keel back to the bottom of the rudder. Okay. So that'll stabilize the rudder, and it'll also keep big logs from coming up and pounding your prop.
If you own this, would you put in some benches or something for family and guests, etc.?
Well, the first thing I'd tell you to do is I'd buy a nice big custom cushion for this engine room, because that'll give you a lot of places to sit. Yeah. And I might even try this with a little backrest in the middle, so you could have people sitting either way. You want me to show you what I mean? Here's what I'm thinking. You come in, everybody could have a seat right here. Oh, I see. And then have this thing running forward and aft like so, and you could just lean back here. Yep. And watch the world go by, and 3 or 4 other people on the other side. And I might put another seat up here beside the captain. And you could put a bench back here for the, you could run a bench around here if you'd like. And that'd be nice, but you're not going to bring 30 people on board the boat, right? 4 or 6 maybe max. Maybe 8 if you're really kids. But look at this. Just try this out for a second. Tell me, do I look comfortable? You won't find a bench seat on the stern of a boat that's as comfortable as this deck chair. I will tell you that these came off the Titanic, so I think you got a good deal on them. And Sea Dog likes that a lot too. Apparently. She can see everything. But I'll tell you what, let me take you down below. Oh, sounds good. And show you what goes on there. All right. Randy, come on down. Thanks. Now, we've been in more spacious boats, right? Yeah. And we've been in boats with tables and sinks and navigation tables and all sorts of who-shot John. But this boat is pretty clever. We got 2 long settees here, and with these cushions up, you can see how this could be converted to a very large double, couldn't it? And look at the deck beams under here and the wood construction. Here are your oak ribs coming up. That's your hull right there. Nice deck beam. She's all dry under here. There's no signs of moisture or mold. We got 4 little port lights in the airshaft cabin. And look at the overhead. This is really very pretty. Look at the deck beams up here. It's very pleasant here. Now, we don't have this hatch open right now. We could sit down here on a nice rainy night. You know what I'd do too? I'd invest in some cushions for back here, because I would love to be sitting, up like so, and whoops, without the Captain Q hat on, and leaning back and being very. Oh. Well, we got to organize these. You would think you would learn, but no. I would think I would. But anyway, you can get comfortable back here, and certainly underway sleeping. Once you're concussed, you can get very comfortable. You could be concussed too. We've got some curtains here for the Dodger up topside, and storage locker with the ubiquitous life jackets. Right beside you, there's something you could use for a chart table. It's big enough. And there are some nice drawers underneath it. Huh. I'm just seeing this. Pop out. Did you see this? Oh, I did see that. My gosh. That's a lot for this boat, isn't it? It looks familiar. It's got some signatures on it. Oh, no. Did that make it here, too? Oh, golly. Well-traveled. Well-traveled. Now, take a peek at this. There is the keel. Look at the deck beams right here underneath. And there's some dust up here. There's tiny mist of water right down beside that. I don't know, that's probably just...
I think it's actually just fiberglass. It's epoxy.
Oh, okay. So it's dry, no water.
Yep.
And easy access. And I love seeing these because it always reminds me of the older boats, lightnings on older wooden boats that they built. That's the only way. You put a finger hole in there and you get the board up. Very old school. So not much else to report here except if there's an emergency, and I know you love to discover these things.
Oh boy.
Right between the berth, right?
Oh yeah.
Randy, what does this remind you of?
The Ted Hood Firefly.
Yep, there you go. There it is. And this is, the nice thing about this, you can take it home with you, right?
It's like the love toilet.
The love toilet. Exquisitely designed, handcrafted of the finest porcelain.
Honey, look what I got. Found at sea. Okay. So, there's not much more to talk about with this boat except she is probably going to handle really well. I can't wait to see her this afternoon when we get a chance to take a little ride on her. What do you think?
Yeah, I want to take her for a spin.
And
one thing that's kind of fun down here, it's super
that?
bright and happy with these cushions and with the light and the deck beams.
It is a happy little cabin. It is a happy little... Now the headroom is probably, what's that, 5 feet at best. It's shoulder height for Randy. So if we took your head off, you'd be okay.
Which you've done occasionally.
We have to do that once in a while, just to keep you honest.
Yeah, it's about 5 feet. So yeah, it's a croucher.
It is a croucher, but I like this down here. I would like to have this boat sitting in a dock and just be able to put a couple people on, go out for a evening martini.
Yep.
You know, not too many of them, but just have one.
If you have too many, you got a place to crash.
You do. You would have a nice place to lie down here. If it started to rain or snow or whatever, you'd be dandy. Ooh, you know what would be fun down here?
A little cribbage?
A little fireplace.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Where would you put it?
I don't know. There's always some place, you know. I hang it, you know. But there's a bulkhead here you could put it on. We do have a nice electrical panel. By the way, you should take a look at that. It's pretty fresh and new, and all the circuit breakers are there. It's almost out of keeping with a boat that has this sort of old school look to it, right?
Yep.
And master switches right down here in the bulkhead. But I think she's a lovely little boat for a lot of people. For some old folks that want to just go out and say, honey, let's go out and watch the moon tonight.
Yeah. No messing around with flappy bits.
Or you could get a bunch of young kids that like to go out and say, hey, let's go out and moon tonight.
It's going to be a moon somewhere.
It's a moon somewhere. So this is the Marjorie, a 30-foot Eldred Cooper powerboat built by a well-known fishing boat guru in Falmouth, Massachusetts. And it's really sweet.
How would you compare this to like a Hinckley picnic boat as far as...
two different things. We were just on a Hinckley picnic boat. How big was she? 35 feet or so?
Yeah, about that.
Surprisingly enough, she didn't have much more headroom than this boat. It shocked me. But that was a beautiful boat. And the Hinckley finish, I mean, there's old Cape Cod, New England kind of boat. The Hinckley is a masterpiece of design and build, again, and perfection all around. And considerably more money.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So maybe this is the Volkswagen version?
Yeah, if we wanted to go to our car thing, I'd go with a Volkswagen minibus because you got more room, right?
Yeah.
So it's the Volkswagen minibus of boats, and it's been restored, so it's a perfect Volkswagen minibus. I like it a lot. I'd be happy with this at the end of my dock. I'm going to just test this berth for a few seconds.
Oh yeah, maybe you should do the.
Look what they got here for me. Look what they got.
Oh, supersized. 2
pillows, but I'm not going to take advantage of one. I'm going to stretch out a little bit here. Oh. I don't know why this works so well on all these boats, Randy, but it really does.
I think it's called gravity.
Gravity is huge. Thanks, pal.
All right, good night.
You have a good day. Right when you get work. I didn't see you there.
Lurking.
I know, it's probably the heat today. We've had a couple of hot days to do some shooting this wonderful beginning of July finally. And today we had a chance to look at a really nice runabout wood Eldred Cooper 30-foot diesel powered open cockpit. I'm going to call it a runabout because there's a couple of seats below deck, but that's about it. And we did get a chance, as you might have noticed, of striking out into the middle of Long Island Sound, and she was smooth as silk. Even when a couple of boats went by and gave us a little chop, boat didn't budge a bit. And I think you might have noticed that even Randy and I look fairly comfortable sitting back in those deck chairs left over from the Titanic, right?
Yeah, not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. There's a little engine noise, but you get that and you get used to it after a while, and I think there's ways to deaden that sound. It's a neat boat. We know it floats. It's a power boat. That scared us a little bit because, you know, we just know our fans like to look at boats with sticks in the air, right? And this had no sticks in the air, but every once in a while you got to say to yourself, honey, let's go for just a simple ride in the boat. You hop in the boat, untie from the dock, and buzz around the harbor. This would be a great boat for that, and it would fit any harbor, any place. We're going to give it a 10 because she's a floater, right? We know that. And we're also going to give her another 5 because she's a good runner. She ran really well. And we'd like a few more amenities on a boat like this, so we're going to give it another 4 for the amenities she does have. And that's about it. We're looking at a 19 boat that's been well maintained. Wait a minute, I'm going to give him another 5 points for the maintain. What do you think? This is a 24, Randy, for a nice...
Oh, that seems high. The wood needed some touch-up.
Randy thinks the wood needs some touch-up, so we're not going to give it the full 5 and take it to 24.
Oh, now you make me the bad guy.
We're going to subtract 2 from it because of the need to touch up the wood. So we're down to 22.
Okay.
How is that?
That's reasonable.
For a delightful Eldred Cooper unique boat, because it was built by a man that builds fishing boats for a lady that wanted a little yacht. How sweet is that?
Sounds pretty good.
Thanks for watching us. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when the next one comes out, please hit the alert bell. And that's not desperate at all. Randy, how would I ever find out what's coming up next?
You can follow us on Instagram here,
Yeah.
or Facebook here. We'll have little previews of what's coming up on our next episodes. A little bit early.
That's pretty cool. Previews. You all join me. I'm going to Instagram right now, and I'm going to find out what's coming up next week. Thank you very much.
You know, Instagram's not a place.